Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. There are 13 new cases of COVID-19 in Saskatchewan, 1 in the north and 1 in the far north, and 8 in the central region, with 1 case in the south and 2 in the Regina region. 12 people are in hospital, 128 cases are considered active, and 793 have recovered. Well, in Alberta, their top doctor is voicing concern that the province may become Canada's new hotspot for COVID-19 cases.
And particularly concerned about the number of cases where we don't know the source.
Alberta now leads Canada in new daily cases per capita, adding 120 cases yesterday, the first time the province has reported triple digits in over 2 months. Health officials are worried that crowded beaches and parks mixed with a lack of social distancing will result in another spike. The increase in case comes in Alberta continues to ease restrictions. Well, throughout the pandemic, seniors' homes have had to take a lot of adjustments to their operations to keep their residents safe. Jasmine King spoke with the Vermilion Valley Lodge to find out more.
I'm joined here with Brittany License, and she's the Recreation Director at the Vermilion Valley Lodge. Now, how has the lodge been during this time?
There's obviously been a lot of new challenges and stressors for both our residents and our staff since the pandemic has started. But we have an amazing team of management and staff that have really gone above and beyond for our residents during this transitional time. And our resident safety has always been the #1 priority, so we keep that at the forefront, and things have been going fairly well for us.
And how has your operations changed?
There's been a lot of changes to our operations. Probably the biggest one is the visitor restrictions that have been put in place. We're used to having family members and friends coming and going out of the facility as normal, and since the COVID-19 pandemic has started, we have had no visitors allowed in the facility. We've also increased our sanitation procedures. We have staff and resident screening, which happens every day. Temperatures are taken and a questionnaire is answered by every resident and staff in the building. We have set up an outdoor visiting area to allow visiting to still happen. And we also have brought in a door greeter, which that person is specifically in our facility to accept packages that are brought in for the residents.
And what would you say was the biggest difficulty at first trying to just set up your new operations and new rules?
I think probably the biggest thing was just the transitions that happened. You're used to doing things a certain way for many, many years, and then all of a sudden it changes. So just making sure that we were clear on the guidelines that the government put in place for us, and making sure that we're following all those rules for our resident safety.
And how have the seniors adjusted to all of this?
I would say for the most part, people are adjusting quite well. It has been a few months now, understanding that everyone deals with things in different ways. So our staff are very cognizant of that. But for the most part, people are taking it in stride. We've had a lot of new and fun things that we've put into place for our residents, so hopefully there's more good than bad for them.
And with some of those fun things, have you guys held some special events for seniors to try and keep them entertained since they aren't going out as much anymore?
We have. We've actually been doing a lot of really fun things in our facility. Right at the very beginning, we were doing a lot of hallway-based activities as we weren't gathering in groups at that time. So we were doing hallway bingo. Our maintenance man made a hallway mini putt program, which was a lot of fun for the residents. We do hallway door service of things like ice cream or watermelon. We also had hallway happy hour, which was a lot of fun. We have been facilitating FaceTime visits with families. There's tons of stuff we've been doing. We did a COVID classic car parade in our foyer. So I connected with a bunch of people that had classic cars, and they came and did a drive-by so our residents could see those cars. We had an intergenerational pen pal program, which was really successful, with different young people in the community sending letters to our residents. And we actually also, right at the very beginning, had one of our projects go viral. It was a positivity project for the residents, and we got close to 200,000 views on Facebook from that. And it was a lot of fun for our residents to kind of see how viral they went every day.
And what has been the residents and the staff's reaction to these new activities that you've been starting?
I would say for the most part, people are really enjoying them. We do we do have some people that are ready for things to get back to the way that they were before. But with our creativity and our staff on board, we've been keeping people pretty busy and pretty happy.
And you mentioned that you've scheduled some visits with over FaceTime with family and everything. Can family now come visit some of the residents, or is it still on lockdown?
No, we still have visitor restrictions put in place. So we are facilitating our FaceTime visits at this time, as well as we have an outdoor visiting area set up. That is, the residents sit on the deck, and then 6 feet away, there is a bench for family members to sit on so they can visit out there.
And how has the community support been at this time?
We have had so much support from our community. The community of Vermilion and surrounding areas have been so wonderful in always supporting us, and always we've had tons of donations come in. We've had people asking how they can help virtually and in different ways. I put it out that I was looking for classic cars, and I think we had 25 show up that day. So a huge thank you to the community of Vermilion for all the support during this time.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brittany.
Thank you for having me.
Now to our Evan Kenny with a look at your weather forecast.
Thanks, Connor. Taking a look here at the weather now after last night's storm. It's going to be a little nicer today. Currently 21 degrees here in Lloydminster. That could drop even more though, as we do have a chance of rain and a thunderstorm coming later tonight and throughout the night. 60% chance of humidity here. Taking a look at the area, some temperatures. 20 degrees out in Lacklebish, 22 in Bonnyville, 23 in Cold Lake and in Pearceland, 21 in St. Paul, Marwayne, Vermilion, and like I said, here in Lloyd, and then 21 as well in Edmonton, 22 in Vegreville and in Provost. Taking a look at the Saskatchewan side, 23 in Macklin, 24 in North Battleford for the highest for the area, and then 22s all the way up to a 17 in Isle of Cross, all ranging from that area. As I mentioned, we could see some of this storm coming in later today and even into parts of tomorrow morning. Now taking a look at North Battleford here, currently 24 degrees. As I mentioned, that will drop down to 11 overnight, and as I mentioned, a chance of storms tonight rolling into tomorrow, where we will see a 60% chance of thunderstorms tomorrow in that area. In Cold Lake, 23, with dropping down to 12 degrees, so very similar again with a storm moving in tomorrow. So expect some showers in Lloydminster tomorrow, 10 degrees. And as I mentioned, I feel like a broken record, a good chance that we will see some rain tomorrow. 18 on Saturday, 22 on Sunday, and 20 on Sunday and 22 on Monday to start off the week. Last night, we had some interesting clouds and a bit of a storm roll through the Midwest. We asked our viewers to submit photos to us. Let's take a look at some of them now.
Welcome back. The Lloydminster Interval Home Society has been helping on average 16 to 20 families a week for the past 7 weeks with a program called Dinner Time. Our Shelby Clark chatted with them for more details.
Joining us today is Leanne Wildman, Resource Development Manager for the Lloydminster Interval Home Society. How are you, Leanne?
I'm good. How are you, Shelby?
I'm very good.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So what is the Dinner Time program the Lloydminster Interval Home Society has for families?
Yeah, so this is actually a program that's been developed and adapted through the Lloydminster Community Youth Center, which is a program of the Interval Home Society. And in the COVID times, we decided to reach out to the families that they have youth that typically come to the youth center, but since the youth center wasn't accepting youth at the time because of the restrictions that have been in place, we decided to adapt this dinner time program, which is really exciting. And so once a week, the community youth center is able to put together these kits and deliver them to families. And so we were able to shop for groceries, put these kits together, and then the youth were able to make these meals with their family at home. And so it became a real favorite of the families. So each week they would get a kit delivered, and within it was a recipe and some activities and just some well wishes as well for the family during the time to wish them well for that week. So yeah, it's been really well received by the organization, and we're really enjoying it. So this program has lasted about 7 weeks so far, and it's going really well.
And how many items are in each of the kits?
There's enough food in each of the kits to prepare one meal for approximately 5 family members.
And this is, you said that this started for 7 weeks so far?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
And is this a program the Interval Home Society has every year?
No, it was brand new, just brought forward through some brainstorming here at the center since COVID-19 has happened.
And how is Safeway Canada helping support this program?
Yeah, we reached out to Safeway through their online program and applied for this program to help support us with it. And they came back and were thrilled to be on board, and they were able to donate $2,100 in gift cards to be used at the local Safeway. So we're really excited about that, and it really helped us out, particularly for these 7 weeks, and really happy to have them as a supporter of the program and as well as the youth center.
And in your opinion, why do you believe it's important for the Interval Home Society to have this sort of meal prep program in Lloydminster?
Well, I think it's been twofold. It's really good for us to engage with these families and to provide them some family activities. We've heard great feedback from the families saying that this is one of their favorite things that they get to do together each week. And then it also allows us to stay connected with them during these times. Until recently, we really haven't been doing any face-to-face contact with the youth that typically would be at our center 4 nights a week. And so this gave us that opportunity to connect with them and provide them some fun activity. And it also helped them out with a little bit of the grocery bill and maybe giving them some ideas for food prep at home as well.
And besides the donations from Safeway Canada, how has the community support been with this program?
I think the community support overall has been really good. We've been sharing it on Facebook, and we've been getting a lot of good reactions to that for sure. So yeah, we're really excited about what's to come. Maybe we'll be able to promote this more annually. But yeah, I'm not really sure what the plans are going forward.
And is there anything else you would like to add about this dinner time program?
I'd just like to really thank all of the families for their participation and understanding during the times that we're in, letting them know that we really appreciate all that they're doing, and yeah, that we're still here to support them absolutely through all of this. And a really big thank you to Safeway for their generosity in helping us to provide this to the families that we support.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Well, the Lloydminster Twins senior baseball team is making the most of the shortened season. Evan Kenny has more on the Twins' hot start.
A new season for a new team. Last year's Lloydminster Twins team, who finished the season on a 2-game losing streak, are now riding a 3-game win streak.
So, it's important to get the wins just for standings like usual, but I think really more than anything, it's because it's a shortened season and we're not going to get a lot of games in before, the final, like we're in the playoffs. I think for us, a lot of it's just about tuning ourselves up for the end of the season. So
the Twins are already halfway through their 8-game season. In the 4 games played, the Twins have 25 runs scored and have only allowed 15.
The guys have been hitting pretty decently. We keep leaving like a ton of runners on base, so we're not exactly happy yet with our offensive performance. But it's 4 games in, we have no complaints.
The icing on the cake for Barber?
If anything, I would say of our 3 wins so far, the game last night was the one that that we're most happy with, because I think we played a solid game all around.
The Twins will finish their season with 2 games versus the Unity Cardinals, 1 game against Kindersley, and then their final regular season game against the crosstown rivals, the Border City Blue Jays. Evan Kenny, Primetime Local Sports.
Now our Evan Kenny has another look at your weather forecast.
Thanks again, Connor. Taking another look at our weather for this evening. 23 currently in Lloydminster, 23 also in Meadow Lake, Prince Albert, 24 in North Battleford, and 24 in Saskatoon, and then 22 in Melfort to wrap up the Saskatchewan side, 17 in Jasper and Whitecourt, 16 in Rocky Mountain House for your lowest in the central area, 22 in Edson, Edmonton, Athabasca, and then 23 finishing up in Cold Lake. Taking a look at the north, a little colder here, as we mentioned earlier, 15 degrees in La Ronge, 19 in Flin Flon, 18 in South End, 17 in Wolston Lake, and hovering around the 20 for the rest of the area as well. Similar in the Alberta side, 16 degrees in Grand Prairie and Peace River, and 15 in High Level for your coldest for northern Alberta. Now, if we take a look at southern Alberta and southern Saskatchewan, 24 in Kindersley, 29 in Estevan for your warmest for the southern Saskatchewan region. And looking back in Alberta, 24 in Medicine Hat, 23 in Lethbridge, and then a little cooler up in Banff at 19. Taking a look now at your national, 20 degrees in Vancouver, 22 in Edmonton, and 26 in Regina. Edmonton and Regina could be seeing some water in the next handful of days. 18 in Whitehorse and 20 in Yellowknife. Moving our way east, 20 degrees in Winnipeg, a high of 30 in Toronto, 19 in Quebec City, 9 in St. John's, and 19 in Halifax. Taking a look here at your weather for tomorrow, 18 to 17 all around the area. As I mentioned before, good chance that we will see rain in the later part of tomorrow and potentially overnight tonight as well. 20 degrees in the area for Alberta side as well. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast here, 18 on Saturday, 20 on Sunday, with a good chance that there will see some rain. Now, if we look back to July 19th last year, there was a record for rain with 30 centimeters, so hopefully we don't get that again this year. And then some mid to low 20s for the rest of the week, wrapping it up with a 22 on Friday with some chances of some sun and rain throughout the week. And now let's Let's take a look at some more photos from last night's storm submitted by our viewers.
I'm joined today with Mary Lee Pryor and Ethan Campbell. They're joining me from the town of Vermilion, and we're here to talk a little bit about some stuff happening in Vermilion. But first, I wanted to start with Tourism Vermilion is having some historic walking tours that are happening. Ethan, can you just talk to me a little bit about that?
Sure. So the historic walking tour is a self-guided tour down Main Street. You can come. We have these booklets at the Visitor Information Center that highlights all the locations on the tour. It has a map included in it and history for all of the highlighted buildings. You can come pick these up at the Visitor Information Center. We're open from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day of the week. And yeah.
And so why do you think it's important to be able to have this walking tour that's able to guide people through and show some historic parts of Vermilion?
It's important. It really highlights some of the history of the town. Lots of the buildings on this tour are over 100 years old, such as the Craig's building was first built in 1905, and then it was burned down and rebuilt afterwards. But they're just a big part of the history of the town. Vermilion being founded with a brick factory. Lots of the buildings are made of original bricks that were made at the factory. So it's just important to understand the history of the town, the culture that comes from it.
Now, and you work for Tourism Vermilion, you work at the Visitor Information Center. Can you just talk a little bit about some other services that people can get if they're visiting or even if they're from near and around Vermilion?
Sure, we have a wealth of brochures and stuff that highlight just Vermilion itself. We have honors lists for restaurants, boutiques, places to stay all in Vermilion, and activities we have that highlight the trails in Vermilion and the parks. And besides that, we have brochures and maps and whatnot for all across Alberta as well, some for Saskatchewan and British Columbia as well. So if you're looking for any information about tourism all across the province and adjacent provinces, we have lots of information for you. We also have internet and picnic benches and just stuff like that if you want to come out and just relax in the sun or enjoy the outdoors. And just any information we can also help you find, just ask us questions and I'll try to help you out the best you can.
And is there anything else coming down the road from Tourism Vermilion?
Right now, we've just launched our new Town of Vermilion app. And so that would kind of be our next tourism plug, I guess. It is listed under any app store as Town of Vermilion. And I guess the beneficial part of it is that you can see all our businesses on there. The latest feature we have on there that we're kind of super excited about is you can, if you click on the three dots in the right-hand corner once you download it, it gets you to a newsletter that you can subscribe, and it gives us the ability to do push notifications throughout the community, whether it's an emergency, whether it's something, a cool event happening in town where there's fireworks, whatever, rather than having the public go to our social media channels or to our website, we can text it directly to their phones. And so we're quite excited about that. And that's kind of our next step. As well, Ethan, I think, highlighted a little bit, but we've started a new Vermilion Tourism Facebook page. I don't know if you want to chat about that a little bit, Ethan?
Yeah, so we have the Vermilion Tourism. That's what the page is called. If you search that up, you'll find the page. We are doing a series highlighting some spots on the walking tour few videos a week, just one or two of the spots at a time, just giving a quick overview, get a little sense of what is on the tour. We're also posting pictures like throwback, like from all path through Vermilion's history. And we have all links to all of our websites and contact links and everything on that as well.
So I know we're kind of near the beginning-ish part of a tourism season, and obviously this year things are looking a little different, but have a lot of people been coming to Vermilion and coming to the Visitor Information Center and asking questions and stuff?
I think it's been a little slower than probably previous years. Talking to the Alberta Visitor Information centers that we kind of report to, they're okay with that. I mean, we're in the COVID-19 pandemic. We're still seeing about 2/3 of the stats coming through. So say if there was 100 people last year, we're still seeing about 75 in a month this year. So we're excited about that. It's a little more than what we actually expected. And we are seeing a few travelers from out of province as well, traveling through and maybe going to different province. So we're trying to obey all the COVID-19 rules and have hand sanitizer and all those things within the VIC. And Ethan is one of 2 of our students here. Ashley is not in today, they alternate. But as you can tell from Ethan here, we've got great facilitators here at the Visitor Information Center.
Well, I wish you guys the best of luck, and I know there may be less people coming by, but it's, or maybe people might not be going on more trips, but people from around this region can go and see Vermilion and see Ethan and Ashley if they need any help when they're coming to Vermilion and to find information and stuff. So thanks for taking some time to talk with me, both of you guys, and have a good day.
Thanks so much, Jace.
Walking on Water Toy Store in downtown Lloydminster is celebrating their 3-year anniversary, and they're celebrating by welcoming you back in store. You can now shop in person from 10 until 4. You can still shop online as well, walkingonwater.com. They are still doing curbside pickup and delivery as well. If there's somebody in your household who is getting ready to celebrate a birthday, they can put together a great birthday bucket for you. If you're looking for toys that are dinosaur related, or maybe somebody loves unicorns or mermaids, they've got a great selection here. If you're looking for a new puzzle, a new game to play with the family, they've got a great selection here. They've got different craft ideas, and they've also got some great throwback toys like My Little Pony. That is just the beginning of the fun toys, games, puzzles that you're going to find at Walking on Water in downtown Lloydminster. The Downtown Farmers Market is looking forward to reopening this weekend. Saturday, they will reopen from 10 until 4. You're invited to stop by and visit with some great local-based businesses. And they've already announced that Norwex will be here, so will Simple Farmer, Bread Alone, Baked Homemade Goods, Watkins, The Ridge Coffee Bar, Mum's Bannock, and more. When you are making your way downtown, yes, there is some construction, but detours are in place, so you can still enjoy all that they have to offer here at the Downtown Farmers Market. You've got until Wednesday to support Big Brothers Big Sisters in their virtual Bowl for Kids. The theme this year is Fandemonium, so get out your gear that supports your favorite team, the best team in the NHL. And then make sure you bowl by designing your own bowling alley at home or doing virtual bowling through an app or for Wii Bowling. Make sure you get registered with Big Brothers Big Sisters for a chance to win some great prizes. You will find all the details on their Facebook page. You've got until Wednesday to virtual Bowl for Kids this year. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, I hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Open is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
I'm joined here with Connor Chan today, and we are going to be talking entertainment now. Our first topic today is the San Diego Comic-Con. This year they are going to be moving online because of the coronavirus.
Yeah, they are going to move online, Jasmine. It actually starts next week on Wednesday, and it runs until the weekend, which is pretty exciting nonetheless for people who love the Comic-Con convention. So how it's going to work this year is it's going to take place from the 22nd to the 26th. It's going to be at home for everyone that's in their homes to enjoy. So all they need to do is, if they want to watch it, there are those pop culture fanatics, they just kind of keep track of their YouTube channel, as they are going to post stuff daily. There are going to be pre-recorded panels already in place there. There's going to be such things as stuff from the Lego franchise is going to be there. Bill and Ted 3 is going to have presentations there. Marvel's even going to present, even though there were talks that there weren't going to be. So they were going to do the Marvel 616 anthology is going to be making its way there, as well as a new series coming to Disney Plus. They're going to talk about that. I mentioned Bill and Ted. One of the big things too, one of the bigger movies probably at Comic-Con this year, because that there is no Lucasfilm involvement, is the New Mutants, which has been, of course, one of the movies that has been kind of highly scrutinized because of how long it's been waiting to get out. And then there's the rumors of maybe it's going to go straight to Disney Plus because of it. But they're finally they released the trailer just before Comic-Con, so it's kind of getting the fans really hyped up as well. And also for everyone that loves to do cosplay, they can still do that as well. I know it's tough for people to dress up in their home without kind of being surrounded by their peers as well, but there's also the opportunity for people to go in online for stuff if they want to buy it as well. So nonetheless, even though it's going to be a little different this year, it's still going to be Comic-Con nonetheless. And then they're still looking forward to, even in 2021, hopefully by the time that happens, that the coronavirus pandemic is over, that they can go back to doing a normal convention.
Now that's exciting for people who are into movies and they are into Comic-Con, because then they'll get to watch it at home, and maybe they weren't able to make the trip to San Diego in the first place. But with people watching movies at home, movie theaters around the country are still closing, especially in the States, and that actually is starting to affect some movies that were planning to come out this year.
Yeah, Mulan and Tenet are always subjected to that COVID pandemic, because Tenet and Mulan were supposed to be out just before the pandemic was released. We'll start with Tenet, for example. I know Christopher Nolan was pleading with the studios not to push it back, and even though they were kind of like, okay, we'll push it back, and they have pushed it back twice already. And basically what it came down to, Jasmine, is that they need to make $800 million for them to break even. This is how much it's cost the studio to make sure that this movie still gets released in the theaters. So it's costing them a lot of money, and that's why there's so much pressure on the studio as well. I know that this was a really hyped Christopher Nolan movie. It's got stuff that we'll never probably see. It's kind of like Inception in a way, where it has that weird twists and turns as well as with Mulan and Tenet. Speaking of staying with those, they may have to open in other countries before they open in America. You look at the population of what the population outside North America, they're possibly looking at numbers to go pretty well, so that they're hoping that movie theaters in the United States and North America could follow suit as well, to make the money to make up for the time that was lost with the studios. I know Mulan and Tenet both spent around that $200 to $225 million in just the filming, and you don't add marketing costs on that as well. So there is definitely a lot of pressure for those movies, for them to perform. And if I'm Christopher Nolan right now, I'd definitely be a little worried. If I'm also Warner Brothers and Disney, I could be a little worried. But if there are loyal fans out there that are gonna wait and see and have the worth wait to see these movies, then I don't think there's going to be a big issue for any future movies that are pushed back for studio executives to worry about.
And keeping along the lines of movies, Uncharted, which has been on the plate for years, is starting to finally go into production, and they have two major names starring roles.
Yeah, this has been 5 years in the making. Ever since it was released, they've gone through 5 different directors. All of them, were very qualified to do it, but now they finally are going to get on board here. Tom Holland, who's set to play a young Nathan Drake, they're going in that direction. They're not going the older way like in the video games, which I know you're a fan of, Jasmine. But now they're going with that young Nathan Drake route. So Tom Holland is going to be the star of the movie alongside with Mark Wahlberg. He did post on his Instagram and Twitter that they are finally starting to shoot. As I mentioned, they've been through 5 different directors. So the one they finally settled on was Ruben Fleischer, who directed Venom, which is a really good choice for me, because I was kind of watching some Venom clips earlier this morning. He does have a way of turning franchises like that into something really unique. And I know Venom, critically didn't do well. It did really well at the box office. I know there are lots of Uncharted fans that are out there that have played the video game since it came out on the PS3 way back in the day. And I know you yourself, you were telling me, the question was, is this past its peak? Because I know back then they were really hyped for a Uncharted movie. Now it's a matter of, are people still going to want it, Jasmine? I know you're, like I mentioned, you're a fan of the games and you know more about that than I do, so I'll let you kind of take the reins when it comes to the video game side of things. And as an Uncharted fan, what this could mean for those fans in the franchise.
Yeah, what I've seen online, there has been a lot of people wondering, like you mentioned, if it's past its peak. The last game came out around 3-4 years ago, so a lot of people are wondering if maybe now wasn't the time and they should have just waited or stopped the project altogether.
Yeah, there was hopes of that, or not hopes of that. There was rumors of that because there was delayed because Tom Holland has Spider-Man 3 to film, and now he's finally filming Uncharted 3 because there's not a confirmed date for Spider-Man 3 when they start shooting. It could be September, so maybe this time during the summer they spend on Uncharted. So it's a matter of time on what those schedules were always conflicting, and that's one thing that fans were a little worried about there. Now, I know just before we wrap things up, Jasmine, I know one of the big stories of the week in entertainment was the loss of Glee star Naya Rivera, whose body was found earlier this week, and I know the Glee cast was out at the lake where she was last seen, and they were all united, and it was really a powerful photo that was taken at the lake there.
Yeah, there was postings online for a few of the cast members. At first they were like, they told fans not to worry as much about them and worry about Naya and her family, and then they all gathered at Lake Peru around the day before the day of that her body was found and recovered. So for a lot of Glee fans, it's sad seeing the news and how much of an impact her character has had on people today and their identities who may have been struggling. So her character has meant a lot to people, and to see the Glee cast there and celebrating and saying goodbye to her was very emotional for some people.
Yeah, it definitely was. You look at on Twitter, everybody from Demi Lovato to Harry Shum Jr. to Chris Colfer definitely were expressing their love and concern for the actress. And one thing too that I found really moving when I read from what police had to say was that she used the last ounce of her strength to save her son and put him in the boat before she ultimately, passed away and ultimately drowned. So that's really her last act of heroism before she ultimately passed away. So I'm glad that that's what she'll be remembered as, on that personal level, but as an actress, we know she'll have made a big impacts in the world in the LGBTQ community for her character on Glee, as well as her heritage as well.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Connor.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks for joining us on Primetime Local News. Have a good night.